Hello, my name is Leela, and this is a walkthrough of our epic recent vacation to the Grand Tetons, Yellowstone, and Glacier Park. And this is a present for Bob for his birthday on October 12th. He never watches my social media, so I don't have any concerns that he'll see it, but don't tell him, it's a surprise. So this is called a pyramid card, and I'll share a little bit more about that at the end, but here we go. So this is Bob and I, and we're in front of a glacier waterfall. This is at Yellowstone, and we're walking to the Grand Prismatic. And here, this was Glacier Park, and this is a sunrise. It was our last day there, and I really, really wanted to capture a sunrise. And hope changes everything. That's what I believe. This was the night before. This was a sunset, and this was also in Glacier Park, and it was capturing a little bit of the leaves changing color. This was the Grand Tetons. We took a little rafting experience. It was like a level 1, and there were only like 3 seats. So Bob was on the far right in the front, and I was on the far left in the next row back. We went with Ed and Jennifer, but I was able to capture this really picture peaceful of Bob on the rafting trip. This is also Grand Tetons, and just stopping at an overlook point. And my super fun coat that my sister got me that I love. We drove, and so we went with Ed and Jennifer, Bob and I, and Ed was president of a racing club, and Bob was a member, and they both still do volunteering for it now, but they both love their high performance vehicles. So this is Bob with his new Audi RS5 in the Grand Tetons, and this was in Glacier Park, and we were coming through a tunnel, and we really had to orchestrate. You can see I'm not in there. We really had to orchestrate this quite safely for me to be able to get that tunnel photo. This was in Grand Tetons. We stayed at a lodge. I just loved traveling with these 2 cars, and I thought that was a beautiful photo, so I took it of their Corvette. This was the first night that we stayed, and this is also coming through the tunnel. So it was the end of September of 2025, and so it was the changing of the seasons. They don't really get a lot of red in the changing of the seasons. It's lots of yellows, a little bit of oranges here and there, but this was, I believe, the Grand Tetons. And so this is just my tribute to all the changing of the seasons. This was Glacier Park. This was leaving. This was one of the pictures as we were leaving. I don't know where exactly it was. This was a waterfall in the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. And this was also, I don't know where. That might have been, I don't know where some of these shots are, but anyway, a little bit of oranges there. I think this was also leaving. So super fun. And then this was watching geysers. So this was Old Faithful. I took a video of Old Faithful, but I really wanted a still photo too. So I stopped the video and kind of got a picture of it at its highest point. So that was geyser watching. This was walking by one of the geysers. This was Bob went when he was a boy, and these were the mud pots, and he really loved those. So we got to see those, and then you open it, and this was Morning Glory, which I hiked 9 miles that day, and that was one of the hikes that I went to. It was near Old Faithful. It was a trail near Old Faithful. And then on the left and right, that's Bob and I at the Grand Prismatic Overlook, just looking over the overlook. So lots of geysers. And then this is my people page. This was Ed and Jennifer and Bob and I, and we went to a diner in Yellowstone. There was not a lot of great food up there because it was kind of the closing of the season, but we loved this diner. Grilled cheese, burgers. I did not have the bison, but they had the bison and they liked it. And then more. So I took lots of pictures of rocks for Sister Lee. Because she's a geologist. This was far out of Yellowstone. I forgot the name of it. I'll look it up and get it in my notes. But anyway, loved that rock. And then walked to a waterfall and had my little pink toes, which I wanted to commemorate. And yeah, I just did a campaign this past month for breast cancer awareness fundraiser. And it was somewhere in one of these days also that I learned that I earned the trip to Alaska with Stampin' Up! And I'm super grateful for that. But that was to kind of commemorate that the way I achieve things is through love and service first and foremost. And so I got my little pink toes to remind me of that. And then this was Bob standing by his car in the Grand Tetons, and he just looked so proud owning his little car. And then this was me the last day, Glacier Park. Glacier Park's an international park with Canada, and it's the Park of Peace, and you can't see it, but I have a little peace t-shirt on, and I got a super fun hat, which I wanted earlier because I got a sunburned face. I ended up with this moose hat, but got the cutest hat on the last day. And then Yellowstone actually had some scrapbook papers and whatnot, so that's where those little things came from. That was the day of the rafting trip. These are the animals we saw. We saw a moose the first 10 minutes into the Yellowstone trip, and it was just so majestic. Somebody posted on my Facebook page that they've been there a few times and they haven't seen moose, so I got really lucky. And then other animals we saw and heard, the elk and bison, aka buffalo. I didn't know that was the same name, but we saw bison and buffalo and goats, of course. We went on a wildlife tour, and then some trip facts. We drove 3,000 miles, and by we, mostly it was Bob. We drove through 5 states, California, Nevada, Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana. I hiked 9 miles in one day. And then the animals we saw a moose in our first 10 minutes. We saw elk. We saw and heard elk, bison, eagles, goats. We saw pronghorn, deer, chipmunks, ravens, and Ed and Jen saw a bear from 100 yards away. But we got sick. Bob wasn't feeling well, so we were in a long, big traffic jam and decided to turn around. But they got great photos. And then just some photos of Bob and I. We took a boat on Lake McDonald in Glacier Park. I think this was hiking that same day in Glacier Park. This was a view outside our room. I believe that was also Glacier Park. Oh, it was so beautiful. This was just to kind of commemorate. I've been obsessed with Big Brother this summer. So we were watching Big Brother, and Bob does a cool thing where he connects to Dish. Used to be we had to use the Sling box to do it. Now you can just log in on the iPad. But anyway, we were just kind of watching TV. And I've been quite obsessed with Big Brother. And this was also kind of to remind me, one time we took a river cruise in Europe, and we were going through the locks, and Bob was connected to the Sling box, and we were watching Survivor. So this is just kind of a little thing we do. We catch up on our shows while we're traveling. And this is us by that geyser again. Came home, and it was so good to cuddle with Sweet Wrigley. Where's his head? His head's right there. It was so sweet to just cuddle with him. This is us just kind of laying. And then the final picture on the back is sunset at Glacier Park. So it's an amazing, awesome trip. I highly recommend. And just a little commercial portion, you can find me at lilamikey.com. These are called pyramid cards, and I have instructions completely for free how to make them soup to nuts. I also teach classes. I also sell them. So if that's something that you want as part of your life, just let me know. But thank you for watching my little trip documentary. Okay, bye.